Yes, hello. Thank you for joining me. I'm here because I would like to share with you some writing. It's not my writing, but it was writing that was written about me or otherwise inspired by me. It's writing by my internet stranger friend turned in real life friend. His name is Travis Neal Todd, and I will be reading from a recent collection of writings that he published under the name of Drunk Men in Wheelchairs and Dubious Service Animals. So thank you for listening. And thank you to Travis Neal Todd for writing these delightful pieces by yours truly. Let's see, the first I'm reading to you today is titled A Very Small Price to Pay. Sometimes in your life, you will have the opportunity to enter the force field of a person so open-hearted and fearless and charismatic, who approaches every day with such an utterly idiosyncratic and inspiring artistic vision, that almost dying as you take an off-ramp into Seattle, and your car spins out of control for a few terrifying seconds, will seem a very small price to pay for the privilege. We should always be grateful when the universe serves up experiences that take a chainsaw to our tendency towards routine and complacency, even if they involve coming to a stop on a lane divider as approaching cars narrowly avoid T-boning us into the next world, heart and throat. Rick Ross still rapping over the speakers about credit card schemes and writing dirty. She had such an incredibly strong visual presence. That seeing her in the flesh for the first time was almost like witnessing a cartoon character come to life. The red lipstick, the pigtails, the black pencil dress with white collar that made her look like Drew Barrymore somehow merged with Wednesday Addams, if Wednesday Addams had grown up to possess a pair of eyes so hungry for the onrushing flow of existence that they couldn't help but be drawn toward whatever thing was the most fascinating in a 50-yard radius. She was charged with the kind of radiance it's rare to encounter outside of Russian hermit saints and hillbilly moonshiners and souped-up jalopies, whoopin' and hollerin' as the cops chased them down West Virginia mountain roads. It quickly became clear that she possessed one of those rare intelligences that vacuums up the material world and transforms raw matter into an utterly unique artistic vision, worthy of Francis Bacon or Hieronymus Bosch. To say she wasn't boring would be an understatement on the same level as observing that outer space is cold or that the sun is hot. She activated a man's tendency towards hyperbole, and she probably left a trail of emotional devastation behind her, like blood dissolving in the wake of a joyously hungry shark. There was no possibility that she would let me fuck her. So, the second piece I would like to thank you, Travis Neal Todd. That was delightful. Such a wonderful thing to have you write about my being. This piece is titled This Art Terrorist of a Woman. Dude, you're utterly deluded if you think that you're somehow going to transform this art terrorist of a woman into your little wifey. That she'll somehow agree to make herself over into the kind of woman who wants to bear your rugrats and garden and knit you sweaters and pretend to be interested in cookie recipes and soccer practice. She's like the Aleister Crowley if he was a curvaceous Drew Barrymore look-alike instead of a moon-faced, crazy-eyed English eccentric with a penchant for mountaineering and opium. She's about as likely to get interested in suburban bullshit like The Bachelorette as Diamanda Galas is to release an album of soothing children's lullabies. If you want a 21st century version of June Cleaver, you do well to start looking elsewhere, my friend. Now, buy me another shot of Evan and come to your senses. Cheers. Alright. Okay, so these next two pieces, I'm not entirely sure if they were written about me, but I have strong sense to suspect that they were. This one is titled Ain't No Fool Like an Old Fool. There are few sights simultaneously sadder and funnier than a middle-aged man pursuing a woman almost 20 years his junior. It is an inherently farcical quality. The spectacle of an aging wannabe Lothario with the human relationship skills of Tarzan the day before the apes relinquished him, chasing a fantasy more chimerical than a unicorn's daydreams. It's the kind of endeavor that might cause even a Dulcinea entranced Don Quixote to roll his eyes in disdain and disbelief, pained at the man's delusional embrace of the triumph of hope over experience. He doesn't seem to realize that this pursuit is another hopeless attempt to mitigate the ineradicable separation of desire from the satisfaction of desire, a condition that seems fundamental to the human experience of the world. This woman, who he perceives about as accurately as the other fantasy object that briefly captured his attention over the years, is about as visible to him in her real, full, three-dimensionality as quirks and muons are to the naked eye unassisted. It's rare to encounter someone who so exactly personifies the phrase, "Ain't no fool like an old fool." But here's the man who should forever illustrate it. I might feel sorry for him if it wasn't so goddamn entertaining, and such an opportunity to experience the delights of Schadenfreude. Yes. I realize I butchered some of those things. Here's the last piece that I will be sharing with you. It is also one that I'm not entirely sure was inspired by me, but I have reason to believe so. This one is titled Honeymoon. We will embark at the same time upon a trendy and dangerous fad diet after reading testimonials about its amazing health benefits on the internet. The resulting hallucinations and euphoric sense of disorientation will be entertaining enough that we won't mind ending up naked, clinging to each other under filthy sheets in a squalid hotel room outside of Flagstaff, Arizona, as smooth jazz plays on a small radio we bought at a Goodwill in Topeka, Kansas, when we were still lucid. The large amounts of mescaline we consumed in the desert probably had something to do with it too. We will finally emerge into full consciousness after several days immersed in a mystical quasi-dream state. An examination of ourselves in the bathroom mirror, now decorated with several obscure occult symbols, scrawled in pink lipstick, will reveal that we now have matching tattoos of a gap-toothed Leon Sphinx on the back of our right hands. After long and restorative showers, we're toweling off and searching for our remaining clothes when there are 3 sharp knocks on the door at 5 p.m. You open it, and an elderly Native American man silent hands you a paper bag containing a Ruger LC-9S, ammunition, 2 gold wedding rings, and $5,000 in 20s. A week later, we're divorced. Could Half-Hearted Handjob be one inspired by me? Probably not. You know what? I'm gonna read it. It might be. It's in the same section. It's in between all the things. A Very Small Price to Pay, Honeymoon, This Art Terrorist of a Woman. Then there's Half-Hearted Handjob, and then Ain't No Fool Like an Old Fool. So since it's sandwiched in the middle, I'm just gonna read it because maybe it is. Who knows? Half-Hearted Handjob. Listen, Haas. You've got to stop romanticizing these fleeting attachments. It's embarrassing and dangerous and futile. You're sailing towards decrepitude and senility, and you're still mooning around like a Walmart Trolleus over a gum-snapping Chrysia? I don't fucking know that word. I'm sorry. Who works at a cashier at Popeyes and has 2 kids with a Honduran gangbanger. She might give you a half-hearted handjob after you've bought her that washer-dryer combo and about 10,000 mojitos, but that's as far as it will ever go. Even the saints are laughing at the spectacle of an old man trying to woo a woman half his age, a woman who would rather drive bamboo under her fingernails than let a decaying wannabe Lothario like you put a ring on it. I recommend buying a case of Jameson and listening to the first 3 Tom Waits albums on repeat until the circuit burns out. You've been here before. It'll pass. I don't think that one was inspired by me, but maybe another girl. I think he has a thing for girls at the fast food restaurants. The Latina girls. Anyways. Well, that was delightful. Thank you, Travis Neal Todd, for writing all those wonderful things and all the other stories contained in this book, which you can pick up at your local Pal's bookstore only if you live in Portland, Oregon, or like maybe he'll be going on a road trip in the near future to like stop at random American towns and read this at like karaoke bars and gas stations. Thank you for listening, and good night.